Hello, how's everyone today? Thank you for joining us again here at Just Talking Business. I am Stephanie Van Bark, and I'm a small business owner. So, if you saw the introductory flyer for this particular show, it is to commemorate the initiative that Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority is supporting Black businesses during the month of June. I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, and today we are going to talk to an entrepreneur who is also a woman of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. She is a member of my chapter in particular, where we chartered this chapter together, Alpha Alpha Beta Omega in Miramar, Florida. And we are going to get to the nitty gritty of the importance of an industry that I don't think many people realize is an actual business. So let me bring on board my sorority sister or my sister, Miss Davrye Gibson Smith. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I am well. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. This is an honor. Thank you. I'm
Thank
doing
you
great.
for saying yes. Thank you so much for saying yes. Um, I was telling people right before the show that one of the reasons why we've invited you on has been for me, for two reasons. One, we are, our organization, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, is we are celebrating, initiating, inspiring, bringing awareness to, asking people to purchase from Black businesses during the month of June. And you are a Black business in an industry, in a creative industry that I feel like not a lot of people believe is an actual job. So, if you could tell me who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. And thank you again. So I am Davrye Gibson Smith. I am an educator. This is my 26th year in Miami-Dade County Public Schools. I also taught in St. Lucie County Schools. So total of 26 years. And I'm also an author. And I will just tell you that I believe that I have been writing since I was little. About anything and everything. I would see something, write about it. I would read something, write about it. I kept journals, I kept diaries, I kept little notes. Um, and my mother would always tell us, she would say, if you don't write your own story, someone's going to write it for you.
Mhm.
And so I'm passionate about writing and sharing that passion with young people who aspire to become authors. And so, one thing that I do as an educator is I teach reading and English language arts.
Mhm.
And of course, in those two subject areas, you must write. You
Mhm.
must share your thoughts, and you must write sentences, and you must look at words and find synonyms and use the thesaurus and use the
Mhm.
dictionary. And so all of that encompasses us having excellent communication skills.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and
Mhm.
so if you can read well, you can write well. And if you can write well, you can speak well. And so it's all a part of the package that I grew up hearing from my mother, my grandmother,
Mhm.
all of these educators in my family, but I also speak it to my children because it is truth. So that is me.
So let me ask you, um, when did the passion for writing and the passion for educating others on writing spin for you? This show is a lot about pivoting,
Mhm.
going from one spectrum to the other, and I feel
Mhm.
like you're deciding to actually, you know, put the pen to paper and actually. Put a product out. Was a pivot for you. So, can you describe that moment when you said it's time?
I will tell you, I began writing my book, The
Mhm.
Women Who Raised Me. I began writing this a couple of years ago. Um, but I knew it was time when I lost my mother. She was a writer for the Miami Times,
Okay.
and she would write in their column weekly, and people would, oh, I got to get, the column to hear what Venda's going to write. And so I felt I wanted to continue her story,
Okay.
but also make it so personal for me. So the pivot came when I lost her, and I said, I've got to share my story with the world.
Mhm.
And what is the story going to be about? And the story was, it was about my mother, but I also incorporated all of those women who
Mhm.
were so influential in my life. And I had to tell the world how they were influential, because we can say, oh, she inspired me. Great. But how and why and when did it occur? Well, it's occurred all of my life. And
Okay.
so the women who raised me, there are 8 women that I named. And from childhood to present, I have shared how they have been such a strong force, inspiring me, pushing me,
Mhm.
guiding me, loving me, chastising me. And I put that into personal little anecdotes and little moments that I remember of them and how they were um, just so, wonderful in raising me. And so that became my book, and it became my title.
Okay. Okay. And now, when the book is done, and now you've decided the creative process is over,
Yes.
did you start to do research about how to sell this book, really? Or have you sort of just kind of tried things, or what was your mechanism of deciding your distribution channels, and from there how you were going to make this a hit?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm a big self learner,
Mm,
and I before I ask someone else to do something for me, I'm going to see how to do it myself. So I went to Google and I
okay.
said, how can I publish? And all kinds of things came up, self publishing, all kinds of
Hmm.
things.
Hmm.
And then I don't want to spend a whole lot of money, so I said, how can I do this and not pay someone else to do it?
Hmm.
And I went to Amazon because they gave a step-by-step approach.
Hmm.
Barnes and Nobles also gives a step-by-step approach. And there are other outlets out there. But when I put my pen to paper and had my book completed and wanted to share it, I did not want to pay someone else to tell my story or to
Okay.
publish it for me. So I marketed, I published using Amazon,
Okay.
looking at the word and the content and the story, and who would be my audience. You have to give Amazon all that. Who's your audience? What kind of genre is this?
Hmm.
Um, Give your why. Everything. Market yourself.
Hmm.
And when I tell you that that was just so refreshing to me, I stayed up late nights
Hmm.
looking to see, okay, how what else do I need to do? What else should I say? Who should I call? What can I
Hmm.
do?
Hmm.
And I did it. When it was done, it was just so refreshing. But it was like it was destined, because it was 2 days prior to my birthday,
Oh, nice.
and I got the notice from Amazon. Congratulations, your book is published, and it will be live on this date. And I felt like that was such a great accomplishment for me. My mother was a writer, as I shared with you. She wrote poems and short stories, but she never published.
Oh,
And
nice.
I will tell you that when you publish something, it makes a difference. Gives you a little more credibility when
Hmm. I
people are
agree.
saying, have
I agree.
you're an author. Yes, I'm an author, but have you published? And I can confidently say, yes, I published. So when it happened, I felt like that's accomplishment for myself, for my mother, and all of those who were wanting to tell their story. It isn't easy.
No.
You must go through trial and error.
Hmm.
But nothing in life worth having is easy. It is a
Right.
challenge, and you must stick with it. And once you have done it one time, you can do it again, and it will be something you can teach others to do. And that's how we learn.
Now, um, Amazon. That,
Yes.
I mean, Amazon started as a
Yeah.
publication product, and putting books out there. And I know we were talking about it very briefly earlier, knowing people who have done so in publishing and also in film. This is a $29 billion industry. How
Nice.
do you set yourself apart in an environment called Amazon,
Mhm.
or any of the book companies, Barnes and Noble? How do you set
Mhm.
yourself apart in a way that you are able to sell? Well, I guess, what is your marketing strategy?
I will tell you that Amazon and all of those publishing companies and any media outlet, they give women, especially Black women, women of color, they give us the opportunity to put ourselves in a category.
Okay.
And so that was also one of the boxes I had to check on Amazon. Are you female? Are
Mm.
you, what's your background? And I am Bahamian and Haitian, and
Okay.
so being a woman of color, that also when someone tries to Google you, it goes to that as well in Amazon. So
Okay.
it gives you another little check mark that you must do, but it also allows me to have a greater sense of pride because I'm a female
Right.
woman publisher. Where you look on Amazon, those who have published, there's so many Caucasians, women, and men who have done this years before me, and so
Mhm.
few of us who have done it. We've
Right.
we've
Right.
not sat down to see what we need to do and which box to check and how to figure things out. We've not done that. So
Right.
I think that puts me in a position to tell other little girls, black, white, whomever, you can do this too. It is not difficult, but Amazon gives you that marketing tool to do it as well.
Okay. So you
Mhm.
definitely say that that's a good avenue if
Oh,
someone
absolutely.
because you know
Absolutely.
one of the things I have to say I appreciate about an Amazon, and I'll let you kind of chime in on this a little bit as well. It's
Mhm.
opened the opportunity gate. Whereas it used to be, like you said, very regimented, and most of the publishing
Mhm.
houses were looking at primarily white males.
Mhm.
Now, almost anyone with great writing skills and creativity can be
Yes.
discovered. So, what does that mean? Have you been able to talk to other writers about what that opportunity has meant to them and how they've been able to maximize that opportunity?
Absolutely. And you touched on a great point. Once I have set myself aside as a female black author, the social media world popped open for me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, to join this Facebook group, to join this Instagram group, to join, just so many other things where we help and we cultivate that relationship with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Aspiring authors, who have written but have never published. They've
Mm-hmm.
just sold pamphlets, so now here's your medium. You have it on a media outlet where someone can go and Google your name and buy your book. And
Okay.
if they choose to not buy the book through Amazon, they can contact you to buy the book. So I would say Amazon has flourished. It has um, come out of the shadows of just being for a certain class of people.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can do it. And it isn't easy, but anybody can do it if you really, really want to get your name out there. But they give you the tools and tell you how to do so. You must market yourself. You have to take your picture. You have to write your summary on the back of the book. You choose your, uh, I think it's called the SBN number. And I book with the
Oh,
author.
okay. The number I've heard that
You
is
choose
it's
that. You
it's
can
kind
choose
of
how
like
many.
the code that they have in stores.
The code, you can choose that. How many letters do you want it? Do you want it to say your
Mhm.
name? They even give you like a little back page where you can share it with others. Everything is there for you. You just must sit down and take the time to decide how you want to do it. And once you become a published author, your whole world changes because you know that you're someone's mentor, you're someone's idol, you're someone's who they're
Mhm.
aspiring to
Mhm.
be, and they don't have to be young, they can be older. I've met older women who have come to my book signings and they've asked me what inspired me. I've told them and they said, now that you've done it, I think I'm going to go and look at publishing as well.
Okay.
Media specialists, former librarians, people who have written pages and pages of diaries and journals that they want people to read, you can publish that
Right.
and let the world see it and read it and enjoy it. Let them hear your story and share it and enjoy it.
Is this your? Would you consider this your new profession? But this is,
Oh, wow.
you talked about being an educator, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be an educator until you retire. Because I
Absolutely.
see your passion, but is this next step?
I
Is
don't
this?
know if it's new. I think it's just a part of me. So I'm going to embrace it a little more because people meet me and I don't automatically say I'm an author. I always say I'm a teacher.
Mhm.
I think I will toot my own horn a little more, if I
Uh-huh.
can say that. I,
You
I will
should.
I will do that.
Now, okay, so this is a very important question. Again, I'm not asking for dollars and cents.
Mhm.
to understand how you make money as
Mhm.
an author.
Mhm.
I think that was one of the things that's been the most confusing to me
Yeah.
when I talk about that creative space.
Mhm.
How does one make money as an author, and versus the publisher? So in
Mhm.
your case, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles versus what comes back to
Mhm.
Davrye Gibson Smith.
Mhm.
How does that work?
So once you have your book out and you look at your pages, they will give you their price of what it will cost to print.
Okay.
Okay. They'll give you their base price. This is what it's going to cost to print your book, Davry. And I say, okay. Then they'll give you recommendations on how much to sell it so that of course, you're going to make a profit, but how much to sell it for, which is reasonable. And
Okay.
you choose within that range what you want to sell it for. Excuse me. Now, of course, if you go on Amazon, Amazon will take their money first, and then you'll get the residuals.
Right.
But if you are marketing, you will give that base price as well, and all of those proceeds come to you because you purchased your book. Okay, you
Okay.
can. I when I did my last book signing, I purchased 100 copies,
Okay.
and I would say those 100 copies cost me. I think it may have been maybe $187. Let's just put
Hmm.
that out there. Okay. So that's how much it cost me. So if you look at what my book
Uh-huh.
costs 18.50 or $20. All right.
So,
Okay. So look at what I'm getting back.
right. So
That's how you
you
make it.
get, so there are two tiers or two streams.
They're two
There's if
streams.
I go in and purchase, they get some money off the top. But if
Yeah.
you go in for marketing purposes, they get a flat rate, and
A
then you.
flat rate.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Now,
Got
if you buy my book off of Amazon and of course it's sent to you, you'll pay that price.
it. Right.
And Amazon, like I said, will take their money, then they'll send me a check
Hmm.
of the proceeds. You
You know
see?
what's and do you have to buy minimums?
No, you don't.
Just
You
when you need whatever you need.
whatever I need from my book signing, I always buy a little more.
And
Always
how
buy a
does
little more.
intellectual property play into that as well? Is there some agreement that fully understands,
You sign everything through Amazon.
okay,
Everything is done because once they have printed your book and said, okay, congratulations, you're an author. You're an author through Amazon. Okay, and then I would give the link for people to buy there. But after that, you're done. They've given you your ESPN number. They've approved it because someone has had to read the content to say that this is appropriate under
mhm,
this genre and literary whatever.
mhm.
And you're done. That's it. That's it.
You know what? That's interesting. Is it's earlier on, way before there was an Amazon. I knew some folks that were authors, and they talked a lot about just sort of what you were talking about. If you didn't sell a certain amount, they would rip off the cover so you could buy. You could. So I was like, that's insane. You're supposed to sell till you get to the bottom line, but this way just seems a lot more efficient. Is there a point where Amazon says, okay, you're not selling anymore, so I'm not going to?
Oh no.
Okay.
No, they're always going to have because remember I published in 2021 and it was still during COVID. So I ordered books for book signing,
Okay.
but people were uncomfortable about coming out. So
Yes.
most people wanted to buy online. And if they bought online, I got my check from them it takes 90 days. Every 90 days, they give you a check.
Okay. Okay.
So, 90 days later, I got the residuals from those books that were purchased online. Now that we are in person and
Mhm.
people are comfortable receiving paper, from me and print and everything, again, I can buy myself and then I will just resell them.
Okay. Okay. And
You see,
do
but
they?
there's no limit. They will always have my book. I can still have that book and my website active, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, because I've done the summary for them. They require that I do a summary
Okay.
to say who I am, what I do, and what inspired me. And so that's always going to be there. And if I need
Right.
to update it, then I will.
And how many? There's so many questions running through my head. I can't even look at the list because I just really want to fully understand. Um, I'll come back to it. I'm sure. Let's see.
You sure?
because it's so interesting, and that there's such this opportunity out there for people who
It's an
really want to be an
opportunity.
author,
Please take it.
that I
Yes,
want to
take
make
it.
sure I get every question.
Mhm.
Who have you found your audience to be?
I have found my audience to be native Miamians.
Okay.
They want to read about these people who are from Miami or Florida. I have found my audience to be my students.
Okay.
Um, they they said, "Oh, Miss Gibson." From the moment I started reading, it just captured me because I began to talk about angels and
Okay.
the ancestors and how I believe that they're amongst us, and so that intrigues them a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, so young people, my students, uh, I think anyone, I haven't met someone who has not enjoyed my
Okay.
book. I
Okay.
will tell you that. And people who have purchased not only to support me, but purchased out of the curiosity of seeing what does she have to write?
Right.
Because no one knew me as an author before. People knew me as a teacher or, my mother's daughter, in that
Right.
channel. And
Right.
so this is a whole new realm where you're coming out and people are realizing, even though I'm an adult, some people still think of you as someone's child.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so they're
And what do
saying,
you mean you have a book on
what
the?
is she? What do you mean your book? What do you want to write about? And then once that happens and they see it, it's a totally different level of respect. I have no other word to say it. It's a totally
Right.
different level of respect for you, and they just look at you differently. Um,
And I
and
agree. I
yeah.
agree because anybody that can do something, I feel creative and
Mhm.
actually put it in the site
Mhm.
is that the word,
Mhm.
I think it's very
Mhm.
impressive. Because that's not an
Yes.
easy feat at
It
all.
isn't easy. It isn't easy. But I will tell aspiring authors, um, remember people the likes of Maya Angelou and
Mhm.
those writers. You must remain humble.
Mhm.
No matter how many accolades, you remain humble because that also keeps you honest about writing.
Yes, I agree.
You want to be passionate about it and you want to put your heart into it. I think writing is just a personal thing for people, and some people do it for pleasure, as I do too. But if it's a personal story you're telling, keep that humility about you, no matter how much money you make or how much notoriety you may get. I think that is important as well, and
Okay.
I keep that to heart. That humility is something you must keep because it's just as great as you are an author. You could be great at something not so positive, and
Mhm.
author title will be removed soon.
That's true. That's true.
So,
What do you ever get writer's block?
oh yes, oh yes. I have a second book which I didn't publish. I had some tragedy this year, so I did not publish as I planned in December, but it is coming out, and that is a book of inspirational poetry.
Right.
And writing that one, I had a lot of writer's block because I kept saying, I've done so well on the first one. What am I going to say for this one?
Hmm.
But I wanted it to be purposeful, as in the title. I wanted to inspire, and I wanted for people to be able to have something to pick up and go to when they're feeling, sad or,
Hmm.
angry or inquisitive, and wanted, someone to say it's going to be okay. So that gives you a writer's block. But I'm a woman of prayer, and I think all things come to me from the divine. And when I am at that moment where I can't write anymore, I put it down and I come back to it, and it flows again.
So, did you have to? So, I know you sort of wrote a strategic plan when it came to the creative content, more of a
Yes.
proposal.
Oh
Did
yes.
you also do a business plan as to
Mhm.
how you were going to make money? And that's it. I was challenged recently about doing a business plan for my creative
Mhm.
products. So,
Mhm.
I often like to ask, business owners, are you thinking in that realm when you get to that space?
I really did not. I didn't do a business plan. I did an outline of
Okay.
what I wanted, this to be. I wanted this to be, something I published, but I didn't put it out to make money. So
Okay.
I guess that's something I need to look at.
Mhm.
I put it out there to say, how can I get more people to read my book? So I did a marketing plan,
Okay. Okay.
and I think I'm pretty good at marketing.
Mhm.
So I did a social media page. I do print materials. I often read excerpts from my book to get people intrigued into purchasing. I have little quotes at the end of text messages.
Oh, nice. That's a good idea.
And my church supports me wholeheartedly. They did a book signing for me where, everyone came on, of course, and in each book I put something very different. So I think just that word of mouth
Hmm.
and telling people, especially when you're in a community like Miami where you're born and raised, well, not born and raised, but raised, and just people knowing, oh, Davrye wrote a book, let me see what's in it. So I think you've got to get that out there. And it even says in the Bible, we have not because we ask not. Open your mouth and tell people you've written a book.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And when I published, I did a big social media post that I have published and where they can purchase and how much it's going for. And if they did not want to come to the book signing, they could contact me and I would sign their book and
Oh,
I would have it mailed to them. So we've
okay.
got to begin to ask, and especially women, we've got to ask for what we want. I
I
think that's
agree.
a big business push that my father taught me. He had a business mind. Ask for what you want because you're worth it.
Right. Yeah.
Ask for
And
what you
that's,
want.
you hit the nail on the head. I think that's something many of my women entrepreneurs we're talking about a lot is to
Mhm.
really be more assertive
Ask for what you
and make
want.
more demands of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Because we
Ask
do a lot more than what we really ask for. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. Because when you have created something, it's your personal. It is
uh-huh.
a piece of you that you're giving the world. Ask for what you want back from that.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to pay, then they're missing out on your product. They'll
So,
eventually
okay,
come.
let me read something about you that I saw.
Okay.
Of course, you sent me your bio.
Okay.
So, Davrye currently serves as a veteran high school English language arts teacher.
Yes.
In her spare time, she's an avid writer, reader, life coach, and brand enthusiast for several major enterprise charitable companies. Davrye
Mhm.
is an active member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, The Links Incorporated, and Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. She's a fourth generation Episcopalian
Episcopalian, yes.
Episcopalian and is devoted to the Christian faith. She recently founded Venda's Orchid, a nonprofit that supports research for rare gynecological cancers. Davrye currently resides in Pembroke Pines. She is a life partner to Dr. David Smith and has three wonderful children, one of which is graduating this year, and I understand got you on the road, and
Yes.
a grandmother.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about your day.
Yes.
Definitely.
I'm a busy person. A lot of that has changed, I will
Oh,
tell you, but it is, life happens.
oh
Um,
my God. I was reading that going, does she sleep? I mean, I really mimic or I really laugh at entrepreneurs because I know we don't. And I know, but that's a serious to-do list right there.
it is. It is. When you think about it, Stephanie, if you think about everything you do all of that as well.
And I'm
You
so
do all of
always
that.
like,
You do all of that.
how do you keep the balls in the air? It's just
You just
rare,
have
I
to
guess.
pace yourself. And when I do life coaching with and this isn't a fee, but people often come to me to ask me, how do you do this and how do I get out of this slump that I'm in?
Mm-hmm.
I always refer back to the Bible, always refer to scripture, and those who are not of the faith, I tell them what I would tell my children. You must keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You must keep going and let the past be in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You keep going because you still have so much to offer the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Mm-hmm.
so much to give, and every tragedy is going to turn around and be a triumph.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to realize that. I've had to coach myself
Right.
and say that every tragedy, can't keep you down, because we can woe is me, and stay in that pity room, and we sometimes we don't know to get out of it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
you got to jump out of it, because people are watching you, and if they see you pitiful, then they're gonna say, "Well, it's not working for her."
Right.
So if I know people are watching me, even my children, my students of other sorors, if I know that they're watching me and looking to see what I'm doing, I've got to try and be on my best all the time. And life isn't a bowl of roses or cherries all the time, but to be real about it and to admit when I'm hurt,
Mm-hmm.
angry, or hurting, um, but you got to move on. People need to hear that. A lot of people don't hear that. Move
Right.
on.
Right.
Move on.
And it's okay to
It's
move. To move.
okay. It's okay
It's
to move on.
okay, and
It's
do what
okay.
you need to do to
Absolutely.
heal yourself in the way that you feel like you need to.
Yes,
I agree
yes,
with that. I
yes,
agree.
yes. Because you grow. You grow by that. And when you grow, you become so strong.
Has this been helpful in your healing process, both the writing and selling a book? Has it been part of your healing process?
I will tell you, it has been extremely helpful. Mornings, noon, night, when I'm at work and I'm just thinking, my pen is in my hand, and I begin to write a poem.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a happy poem. It can be a sad poem. It can be a, what if poem. It can be a why me poem,
Mm-hmm.
or just something. But having that outlet is strengthening, um, and it is healing. So me being an author, writing, coaching others, it helps me. It
Okay.
helps me.
Now let's talk a little bit about, and I promise I won't hold you all day, but you
It's
and I kind
okay.
of briefly chatted about this right
Okay.
before the future of books. There's that speculation out there that books
Mhm.
will go away.
Mhm.
Um, I think we're clamoring for content more and more these days. It might not come in the form that we're used to. What is your feeling about? I mean, like I said before, it's a $29 billion industry.
Yes.
So, what do you think is the future for books? And you and I both live in Florida. We're struggling
Mhm.
right now with uh, the replacement of
Yes.
historical content. Um, as we know it to be true in this
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
Um, how will that affect the books that are being purchased for children?
I think that our media and our politics are they're trying to dictate. But I will tell you what I have seen. I have seen people revolting,
Mm-hmm.
going out and buying more and more of those books that are being taken off of the shelves. They're
Mm-hmm.
putting them in their home libraries.
Right.
And I think, what a wonderful response. You're going to take it out of my school, but you're telling us you still want your child exposed to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you see that happening, especially those we're all genius, but I would say those people who are the intellectuals.
Mm-hmm.
They know that the secret to anyone's success is being literate. Anyone,
And broadly,
broadly.
broadly
And so
informed.
when you telling somebody they can't read a book, it's almost like a joke. And some of us who aren't smart enough, the young people who are, oh, okay, I'm gonna take it off the shelf, but someone behind them is coming back to say, you don't tell someone what you can't read, or
Right.
what you can't
Right.
do. If it was good enough for our grandmothers and grandfathers, why can't it be good enough for our grandchildren?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm as smart today because of that. I'm as brilliant today because of that. I'm as strong today because of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every race and culture is as smart and brilliant and wonderful because of those books and the exposure and the literacy that they had. So why are we saying that someone is going to take it out and we're not going to? That's an untruth. It's an untruth and it's trying to cause fear.
Right.
But I see the revolt happening. I see people ordering them more and more online through Amazon.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Amazon's blowing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Barnes and Nobles, they're getting the print rather than getting it on their phones. They're getting the print copies,
And
and
so
they're
in some
putting
cases, giving them two children that they know.
them to the children.
Oh.
When I give birthday gifts, I will tell you. Sometimes people laugh at me. I give books,
Mhm.
and I think it is the best gift because you're giving a gift that lasts a lifetime.
Right.
So I
And
don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think people are causing all kinds of stuff, and of course, media may be pumping it up, but it is only putting in the minds of the intellectuals. I've got to do something. I'm
Mhm.
not going to let them dictate how my children are going to be raised.
And that's how I sort of feel,
Okay.
back, when we were younger and there was not as much information as they have now. We had an audience of people that kept us pumped into our
Yes.
community. And I
Yes.
think we're going to have to go back to that for a while until we
You
can
do.
get beyond this
You
woke.
do.
But
Absolutely. You do.
and I say it in the other direction from where it's been used. Um,
Yes.
but I too am confident that we'll be fine. It's just we
We
got to
will.
go through our ebb and flow is what I like to say.
Yes, you will be fine. You will be fine. And it's almost a blessing, I would say, when the media is putting it on the news,
Hmm.
especially when we saw recently a book being banned from, I can't know if it was elementary or middle, and this was a young author, Amanda Gorman. When we saw that, but I think it was a blessing that it's bringing more attention to that book
Hmm. Hmm.
and bringing more attention to the fact that we have young authors and we need to put them in our homes and we need to expose our children to them because
Hmm.
when you see her reciting of her poem at the presidential inauguration, you look and say, my child could do that.
Right.
My
Absolutely.
child could do that
Absolutely.
if they write their story and write something poignant and wonderful.
Hmm.
So do it. So come on, media, come for us. We're ready for you. Keep it up. Keep
Yeah,
it
I
going.
think it depends on the media. Some is like, but some are like, let them
It
have
depends
it.
on the media. Yes, it depends on the
Let's
media.
do it.
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Mhm.
Well, I want to thank you today. Wait, I have one last question before we go.
Okay.
What is a brand enthusiast? Because I come from a marketing background, but I've never heard of a
I
brand enthusiast. So can you
know.
share with me what that
I
is?
know. That's a play on words. So I also I sell retail wine for One Hope Wine,
Okay.
and that One Hope is a brand in itself, and they are a cause pushing kind of agency where when we sell a bottle of wine, a good portion of the proceeds goes to a 501c3.
Okay.
We can be fighting breast cancer. We can be fighting homelessness. We can be fighting children who are hungry. All kinds of things. And so that is a brand in itself with One Hope Wine. And
Okay.
so when I call myself being a cause entrepreneur or a brand enthusiast, I'm talking about um, helping people and their brand push that market, if
Okay.
especially if it is something positive. And
Okay.
so that's why I promote that One Hope Wine. And 2 summers ago, I did recipes using their wines for the summer, and I call them Summer Sips with Davrye. Being a brand enthusiast with One Hope, because I'm passionate about it. It also helps support, as I mentioned to you, the research of gynecological cancers, which is something that we women, it can go unnoticed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And my mother was, I won't say she was a victim, but she didn't suffer. But she realized she was told she had it and did not know,
Right.
because we our bodies are just so unique. You don't know something is wrong,
Right. Right.
especially because we're just so intricate and so delicate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so One Hope One also supports the research of fighting gynecological cancers and getting more information out to women, um, to be more inquisitive and ask more questions with your doctors, and just to, when you say you know your body, really get to know your body and ask your doctor if anything looks unfamiliar.
Okay.
So
Great. Oh, that's a nice note to end on for sure. Because it feels like that everything you write about and everything you're about and with putting into the world and into the youth
yes,
is about hope, strength, knowledge, and we really appreciate you for that, for
I
sure.
thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. I'm
You're
so
welcome. And can I also say, I think what you do for the sorority is also just exciting. So,
thank you.
so
Thank you.
full of guidance, full of guidance. Before you go, can you tell us where we can find you?
Where you can find me. Oh, social media. Look at you, I'm right here.
What's your
Um,
address? No, I'm just
well,
kidding.
I have my Instagram handle, which is Davrye Gibson Smith. I also have an Instagram handle for original handprints. And then on Facebook, it is Original Prints. Um, and of course, the same for Facebook. I'm sorry, the same for Instagram. It is my name in its entirety. You can also go to my website, which is davrye.net, and you can see my summary there. You can see some causes that I support, and you can also buy my book.
Okay, great. And I hope you will. And we'll see you soon. As
Thank you.
next,
Thank you so
next
much.
week.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank
much for
you so
joining
much.
us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Come back sometime.
I will. I will. Thank you for having me.
And thank you everyone for tuning in today. I told you this was going to be good information. It always is, but I was particularly excited about this project just because I wanted to learn about the literary world and the publishing world. Join us again next time where we'll have someone just as interesting, and we also really will be continuing to support Black businesses for the month of June. We will see you soon and have a great day.